Hello, good afternoon. We're gathered here today because of Gréaud, who is here, and at the occasion of the release of a book that has a certain importance for Loris, as it is the completion of a very complex project that took place in different locations, different institutions, and took different forms. From an exhibition to an opera, from a libretto to sensorial environments. I want to briefly introduce the speakers of today. Cathérine, who is curator at the Kunsthalle Wien, who has the last exhibition of the sequence of Cellar. Pablo who is director and curator at la Conservera in Murcia, and Giovanni Carmine, who is the director and curator of the Kunsthalle St.Gallen. We will discuss freely with Loris, try to keep a couple of minutes for questions if you have. And if you're interested to see the book from closer, we brought some to Stampa Bookshop, which is right opposite from here, and Loris, I'm sure, will be very happy to sign some copies if you want to. I'd like to start with Giovanni. I don't know, how would you explain the complexity of this project? I mean, started some years ago at Palais Tokyo, traveled to ICA London, to Kunsthalle St.Gallen, to la Conservera, to Wien, etc. Took different shapes, took different media. Is translated into at least 2 books now, even 3 editions. How would you qualify that?
I think the project Cellar is so complex that only Loris knows what it's about, because there are
so many
too easy. No, so many elements and different remixes of things that I'm very curious to see the book that because personally I missed also a couple of exhibitions related to cellar doors, so I can recover and get finally a good picture of what was this project. I think the basic idea was the idea of building up a new studio, which is in realization right now. Which
it's done.
There are pictures of the studio.
Yeah, it's the book that you've just published.
Yeah,
and you'll see inside. So I guess just to take from what you just state, part of the project is also about missing element of it. So that's also why it's important for me today to have you guys on my side. And Lionel didn't introduce himself, so this is Lionel Bovier, director of Ringier.
I forgot.
That
but I know everybody in the room.
Okay, me too, almost. So what is really important to me today is not that it's the ending of the project, but the book itself. It's the only element. It's really the image of the banding, right? It's the only object from the cellar door part when you can embrace all the thought and image and let's say topological aspect of rereading some of the process. So thank you for being here.
But Cathérine, would you think that this project relates to some kind of like a Gesamtkunstwerk or something that is all-encompassing, or is it more cinematographic in the fact that it's a sequence? And, I mean, or Pablo?
Well, I think there are both elements, like the Märzbau Gesamtkunstwerk idea, which I believe there is also one of the projects directly relating to it. That was on view at Palais Tokyo. But then the cinematographic line, I think, comes most obviously through in the book, in terms that I wanted to bring back a question in relation to the book, since it follows a very strong narrative chronological line, and I was wondering why you choose this quite, let's say, conventional way of mediating the whole project at the end, even though, yeah, I was wondering a little bit if you could tell us a little bit about the narrative you choose for the book.
You mean the narrative? You're talking about the fiction of the libretto itself, or the book, or the layout of the book?
The layout of the book.
Actually, I just wanted something to be really. We can't really talk about straight with this project, but I wanted something to be really clear, and it's just what I said before about making an understanding of, let's say, the chains of thought and image. For example, what you see on right now is not actually the real chronology of the project, because let's say that there is no chronology in this project, but it's just the chronology of the book. And I guess the book is quite successful to me in the way that it really shows that there is no start or ending, but a constant middle, so to speak. And it just came out from lots of question and obsession. So Cellar is an experiment over the past 5 or 6 years, trying to answer some of the real profound question that I had on what is a show, what am I doing, what I need, what do I need, and yes, I will talk about this in a more profound way, but basically it's the idea. So for the layout of the book, we want it to be really clear and straight, because the project is so complex. There is lots of kind of I just mentioned kind of topological ideas. Let's say lots of equivalence between some notes, score, architecture, shows, and the main idea, to sum up the project, the main idea is trying with all these elements, trying to answer this simple question of, is all those elements, let's say duration of exhibition, object, studio, score, candy, is all those objects could be on one single surface and make only one object. And it's also important for me today to say that that the answer is yes. I've done it. We've done it.
So maybe we have to precise that you designed you did the design of the book. Maybe it's not clear to everybody in the room that it's an artist's book in a way. So.
I don't know if it's an artist's book.
It's also a complex project, because basically you commission the writer to follow the path of the exhibitions with explanation about some references that you included in the exhibition, and of course references you didn't include in the exhibitions that he was bringing additionally to the thing. But it's followed the sequencing of the book. So yeah, there's an editorial work, there's a design direction, an art direction of the project, and it's let's say one of these heterogeneous type of object. You know, it's not per se an artist book, because it provides all the information about all the exhibitions, and it's not per se a monograph that is done by someone else that would take some distance and look at your work. And I think that's also reflected in your work somehow by the level of interaction you have with professionals, architects, scientifics, musicians, etc. I mean, it's not so different, no?
No, it's not different. I mean,
like the conductor.
The choice of Pascal Rousseau, the French art historian, is really important. I mean, we could only done this with one author, and Pascal Rousseau is maybe the person who knows the best all the process involved in Cellar d'Or, and there is no pathos in that, but he's also my best friend, so it was the one to make single straight text that was required for this book.
I would like to add that really when you go through the book and you have a reading of it, although every chapter of Cellar d'Or is very defined, like in a very traditional way, in the sense that it comes in the chronological order of the different institutions. The nice thing about the design is suddenly the division between one institution and the other is tiny. It's a text with a really, really small headline that talks about what you're entering to, the new door that you're opening. But if you go through the book, as if you are a visitor or a viewer that has never been in Cellar Door in his entire life, you start a really amazing journey. Because if you don't pay attention to those little calls that divide one exhibition from the other, you're totally lost in space. When my team and I were going through the book and we started to try to find ourselves, this sort of need of ego to say, where is Murcia? Because we're in the middle of nowhere, so it's like, let's find ourselves in the book. Then we started to do this reading that we saw the exhibition in our space reflected everywhere. So it's all this magic about the book, that there are so many different elements or issues or even pieces that have been reused in many of the shows that gives you continuously the sensation that the book is a final exhibition. I mean, it's like you go from page 13 and then you jump to page 120 and suddenly that you are feeling that you are looking the same show. So this was really exciting, no?
I think that's good.
I think it is. I think that's a beautiful thread.
I mean, there's a lot of repetition, echoes, and you know,
repetition is
and
part of the
differences,
yeah.
which I think it's.
And it's really, really nice. It's like a journey. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter who did what, where one piece was exhibited. I mean, that's not part of the project. And I think the beautiful thing is that you're doing an amazing journey into space, no? And that's my feeling when I got the book finally today here in the cafeteria. And going through it and really feeling lost, seeing elements and seeing situations that I was even feeling that I was Palais de Tokyo. I was even feeling that I was Kunsthalle St.Gallen. I was feeling that I was Vienna at the same time. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you manage in this long period of time to put things together, and that the final project has a hallmark. So it's a great collaboration between all of us. That's the exciting part of it.
That's nice.
And I think that's a goal that you have reached. That's something really.
Yeah, it was all about the I talk about the lots of question and obsession, but I mean over the past 6 years it was more kind of an aesthetical promise, let's say, to test the tangibility of all this question and experimentation through time. I mean, 6 years is not that long, but I'm 32, so proportionally it's a long time.
So you started 6 years ago with Cellar Door.
Yeah,
right?
I started with the
I mean, I was thinking about now when we did the show, I think it was 2008.
We never remember when we did that show.
Yes, it was.
No, seriously, we have a problem with this.
Yeah.
2008?
Yeah.
Mm.
No, and do you consider now Cellar Door closed? I mean, it's conclusion the book, or
it's never closed. I mean, it can be closed. The way it has been built, yeah, it's just an open form. Like the score, let's say, and the libretto is inside the book. And the way I've taken lots of care on this, all these equivalents in this idea. Try to follow me. This idea that if you play the score, you replay the show. If you play the show, you replay the architecture. And for example, part of the book here has been done inside the studio. So it's like the image of a Larsen, right? It's a Larsen, and I mean. The fact that the score is here, the book is here, the studio is built, I'm making today works are popping up from the studio. It means it's rolling. It's not the ending. It's a constant. Cellar Door is a constant beginning.
But that's a very musical approach. I mean, that's what you studied.
I studied music as well.
But I mean, I was thinking of that when you reproduced a book in the book. And I was like wondering, you know, why the book and why not the score in a different version? I mean, it can be more economic in space and so on. Not that I'm only concerned by that, but I was questioning myself. And in fact, I think you work like this. You work with this system of, as I said, echoes and differences, repetition, you know, variations. And as you say, if you replay this score, if you play this partition again, in a way you reactivate the whole project. So yeah, I would go in the same direction, saying it cannot be closed as long as someone wants to play the partition again.
I mean, even the potentiality of doing it, even the potentiality make it real. I mean, let's talk about the candy. The candy was like, let's say the candy was the first form that Cellar Door have taken. I love to imagine that
Can you
now.
explain just?
Yeah, the candy is it's called Cellar, and it's like a kind of phonetic, slippery, tricky thing. Cellar, and it's a candy that has absolutely no taste and no flavor, and it plays with this with the design of a really marketable product, with all this rainbow color, and we've made a commercial in Hong Kong, giving a kind of a synopsis to a publicity company in Hong Kong. So we really played the game of launching a candy. But the idea that the candy has no taste is the way that I mean, that's what I'm telling myself. You can project any kind of taste or flavor on it. So in the first place, it was the teaser of the project. So it works as if you can project the shows, the architecture, and everything. But now that we have the book in front of us, and that tonight we will give away some Cellar candy, we could imagine that the tasteless aspect could reactivate. I mean, the candy have now the taste of the show, basically. The candy have the taste of the architecture and the score. So yeah. I don't know where I start. But
It was a nice.
Okay.
It was a nice ending. And so the first project was the candy. Then
the first project was not the candy. The first project was the ECG, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
electroencephalogram. Because I know at the time that I was going into trouble, because I was invited to do a show in the Wool Palais de Tokyo, which polarized lots of problem in the second place. So, I mean, the moment I had to think about what I will do, what I will need, I just thought of this kind of work, to kind of keeping that moment of reflection that is kind of never archived. And I asked a neurologist to record 30 minutes of the electricity of the brain while I was thinking of everything that I just said. And so it starts with the electricity of the brain. Then it becomes a light bulb that was pulsating from this moment of reflection. Then the candy, then the opera, then lots of shows, building of the studio, and here we are with the book.
and
So
please.
I have maybe a little bit trivial question to you, but you don't think that after the sort of announcement of a closure of a project, that the true place might become a sort of place that people want to see? I mean, with the photo you announced, I mean, you don't think that is it part of the game or the narrative that people might see the studio one day or not?
I mean, the idea of the studio is, and the studio itself is, it's private, right? It's a real studio. I mean, it's not something like you can visit. I really like Jorge Pardo's work, and I'm thinking right now about his house, his own house that become a project, and people could make some reservation and visit the house. But I mean, the studio is just there to, and it has to say, because it contains a part of fiction, and it has to say some of the some of the fiction. So I'll be in the studio. I am in the studio. I'm living inside, and I'm working inside. This was the main. This was the first question: how to change my complete activity, my complete behavior, and the way I see the world. Let's say, about the simple idea that where you live just change all your perception, and designing the studio, not to design a building, and let's say frozen music. Architecture is defined as frozen music. The idea was to design an object that was that is built around the work and not coming from the work or to do even more work. I don't know if that part was clear, but
I think it was. It is. Yes.
Okay.
Wasn't clear for me.
No.
Pablo, you need to say something.
I need to say something.
Yeah.
No, that for us, I mean, we opened La Conservera with Loris.
Which was a good idea.
Was an amazing idea.
Amazing idea.
And after 2 years of existence of the art center, it's kept in everybody's memories, in the memory of the town, in the memory of the city, in the memory of the team, of everyone that was there, because it was making magic. And it was a commitment because Loris knew nothing about us. We knew not much about you, I mean, especially from previous shows and readings. And I think that's part of the magic of us being part of Cellar, no? The generosity of the institution, the generosity of the artists, and all what we managed to do there, no? So for us to open the show, the art center with Cellar was really nice, just because it set the lines of the institution for the future, no? And the standards of that show were so high that since then I've been having a lot of trouble.
I have to say that I'm seriously, and I'm not saying that because we're on a discussion panel, I'm really thankful for all the people that were on my side for those past year, and trust the project, and trust the project at some point where I have no idea where I was going, and it could have collapsed. And yeah, I'm really thankful to all of you, to all the institution, to Lionel that was so careful about following up the sense of the meanings. And yeah, thanks a lot for all of this.
I think we have a minute for a question if someone would like to ask something to Loris.
Or to Pablo.
No, Loris.
You can speak up from the room. There's a microphone if you want.
Or Giovanni.
Go on.
I can't believe we were so clear. Also brilliant.
It was. No, seriously, everybody's done.
Do you want to say something about your
There is
new
Maestro want to ask a question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was totally clear, so maybe I can help with that. No, just kidding. I have a question. So this is this massive project which creates art and great experience for everybody, but it creates a psychic place, sort of symbolized by the studio, out of which art can be created. So is it necessary now for an artist, even as old as you, to create, is this art school for you? Was this preparing as it was in being a follower of a great master, to create your own experience, to organize your mind in such a way to be the artist you need to be?
Well, thank you for this question. And the thing about the studio and the way I think this whole story was in fact some serious question at the time. Let's say back into, it's not that far, but back into 2006. It was not about producing more shows or producing more objects or producing more beautiful image for a book, but what do I needed at the time, and how to reverse some of the process of making a show. What is a show and what is the time? What can be done during a duration of the show? The show for me is the moment to crystallize every kind of possibilities, and the shift of my thoughts was about placing in the center of the work, as the masterpiece, let's say, my own studio. And I think it was it was the good answer. If I want to be really honest with myself, I could have done something really less risky, but this is not my idea of art. And I never intend, at the ACA of London, Conservera of Murcia, the Kunsthalle of St.Gallen, and the Kunsthalle of Vienna, I never tried to make another show. It was another moment to answer some of obsession and question about what is Cellar and what am I doing right now. So the main idea could be summed up like this. my masterpiece as the studio, which create this image of the Klein bottle or the Moebius strip. I mean, it's trying to make only one surface, then more than one object. I don't know if that was clear. It was good? Thank you.
I saw your project in Venice and I was very impressed. Thank you for the project. You are, I have a question. You had an influence. What is around your project before in Palazzo Grassi? It was in Palazzo Grassi?
Sorry, I didn't understand the whole thing. You've seen the work?
I saw the work, yes, in Venice.
Yeah, the gunpowder forest that was previously shown at the Conservera in Murcia. And what was the question, sorry?
If you had an influence on the exhibition itself.
Where it is, if you, whether you had an influence where it is in the Palazzo, it was in Palazzo Grassi?
Yeah, it was in Palazzo Grassi. If the work had an influence on the show?
No. If whether you had an influence, which other projects are around? Do you understand?
Were you involved in the curating of the show of the Palazzo Grassi?
If I was involved, if I display the work myself, what is the question? C'est quoi la question en fait?
Yeah, I don't understand.
If you were involved on the curating of the show at the Palazzo Grassi?
No.
That's not the question.
Then I'm sorry,
you don't understand neither. Did I pick the room? No, I didn't pick the room myself. Caroline Bourgeois did. This was not the question either. No, it's not that.
She's trying to say something different.
Okay, let's do that again. I'm trying to be focused.
Okay. Die Frage war, ob Sie einen Einfluss hatten, welche Projekte vor Ihrem Projekt waren, daneben, dahinter, weil es ist ja irgendwie eine Abfolge. Also
Si tu avais une influence, le fait qu'avant il y avait quelque chose, je sais pas, je n'ai pas eu l'expo, mais c'est le projet qu'il y avait avant et après, dans la narration du Palazzo Grassi, donc dans la curation de l'exposition.
Si le travail a eu une influence?
In English. Si toi, tu as eu de l'influence sur ça, sur qu'est-ce qu'il y avait avant et après.
Yes, he did very much.
Yes.
Yes, you had?
A great influence.
A lot.
No, I still don't understand completely the question, but at the Palazzo Grassi,
Yes.
you asked me
Yes.
if I had an influence on the other room.
No.
See, we are in the middle of Cellar right now. Nobody's understanding nothing.
No, I think the question is if there was a dynamic between the other works, like if you could influence how they were or are displayed besides your work. And I think you didn't. I mean, this is, I think it's. But she
yes,
feels
he
it
did very much.
A lot.
Maybe
Trust
like
me,
in
he
an
did.
energetic
I know him.
way or so.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
and you think so,
Thank
huh?
you. Yes. Okay.
So you were right.
Okay.
We yes. You want the microphone?
Lots of influence.
Yeah, I have a very small question. It's regarding what you mentioned about the candies, and I think your emphasis was this thing called no taste, if I get you correct. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, no taste is a state of mind. It's a phenomenon. Yeah.
Okay.
So, how then you define no taste? Now, I want to explain to you why I say this. Because, for example, if I have a chicken soup, that's very common, and it tastes delicious when I encounter it for the first time. Now, maybe the second time when I taste the chicken soup, the excitement is not there, and therefore I say the taste is not as good. So that's about the taste.
It's not a good chicken soup. I mean, chicken soup is always a great moment each time you do it.
Metaphor.
Metaphor. I understand it.
Just continue. Oui,
Vous pouvez
d'accord.
continuer, bien sûr.
Oui, en anglais. Hein?
Yep.
OK.
En français.
Parce que je ne parle pas français. So, the thing is, there are times the chicken soup actually is very, very good. But you have a very bad experience just before you have the soup. Maybe somebody disturb you,
Yeah.
or you know, there's something unpleasant.
Yeah, it
So-
happens with chicken soup.
But then you are very hungry, and there's only chicken soup. And by the same cook, same everything, assuming, okay? It completely have no taste. When you drink it, you don't know what you're drinking. And it lost. So that is called the state of mind, and it's called no taste. So
Okay.
in my question here, this no taste, is
Yeah.
it a physical no taste, or a phenomenon no taste, or is a virtual no taste, or is a intellectual no taste? So maybe you can, or none of the above. So please enlighten. Thank you.
I'm going to. Thank you. Actually, I completely understand the chicken soup issue, and it's not a metaphorical no taste. It's a no taste at all. I mean, the candies are with different kind of acid colors, and you see the package. There's all this rainbow, but when you put the candy into your mouth, there is no flavor at all. It's neutral, physically. Then you can imagine the taste of a chicken soup, let's say. And you can imagine the taste of an architecture or a score or art. It has physically no taste. I think we have some candy here. No? No, we're not.
No taste.
Tonight. Thank you. Chicken soup.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.